Welcome to the Analyzing Comparing Data Practice Test. Remember, your goal first is to go through the problems and then look at the answers. Don't do it reverse. It doesn't help you. So let's look at this. Our first question says, use the bar graph for questions 1 and 2. The bar graph shows the number of animals sold at a pet store in 1 week. So we got a bunch of animals that are sold at the pet store. I look down at the questions. When I'm analyzing data, I do like to read the questions before I get to the graph, so I know what I'm analyzing for. So first one is how many animals were sold. I'm going to have to add them all up. The second one says what percent of the dogs and cats sold were cats. So I'm going to need to know the total number of dogs and cats and the total number of cats. So let's go through and add stuff together. For fish, I've got 45 fish. For birds, I've got 65 birds. I'm just reading straight down the graph. For dogs, I have 85 dogs. For cats, I have 70 cats. And for other, I have 60. So now I can add these all up to find out how many animals are sold. So 45 and 65, I'm using that kind of additive thing, is 110. 85 and 70 is 155. And then I got that 60 that saves me just a little bit of time adding. Not a great deal. So I get 325. That happens to be answer D, and that's correct. All right, what percent of the dogs and cats sold were cats? I just need to know the total number of dogs because remember, it's part over the whole. And that's really what I need to know. So I need to know the whole, or the total number of dogs and cats, and the part, which is the cats. So cats was 70, that's the part, and the whole is 70 plus 85, and I already found that was 155. So, whoops. So now I got to find the percent of, well, that was a terrible 5. Sorry. So now I got to divide 70 by 155, so 70 divided by 155. I know I'm going to need at least 3 decimal places to find out if I need to round. I got 155 and I got 700. Well, I know that's going to be somewhere close to 5. I'm looking over here, 4s and 5s. I'm going to start with the 5 and see if that's too high. It'll let me know right away what the answer is. So 5 times 5 is 25. Carry that. That's 27. Carry that. That's 775, which is too much. So it's going to be 0.4, but there's only one answer in there. So while I love to do math, I can stop right now. Or you can keep going if you need to figure it out. All right, number 3. In a club election, 200 votes were cast. The circle graph shows the results. So here's all the people who got votes. How many votes did Joe get? Joe got 23%. So what I got to do is multiply the total number of votes by the percentage. So 0, 0, 3 times 2 is 6, 0, 0, 0, 2 times 2 is 4, 46.00. I just cheated and did that and brought it straight down, so 46. Yay. Okay, use the dot plots. So use the dot plot below for questions 4 through 5. The dot plot compares the number of raffle tickets sold by boys and girls. So they've been selling raffle tickets. Here's how much the girls sell. Here's how much the boys sell. Again, analyzing, we want to look at what we're answering. It said which plot has an outlier and what is the difference between the medians for the two sets. So I need medians and I need to see an outlier. Well, boys have 2 clusters. But they're not outliers. They still count as 2 clusters. But look at this. This one girl, she really sold a lot of tickets. So the girls has an outlier. What's the difference in the median? So the median is the middle number. So I'm going to need to count how many there are and find the middle number. So for girls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15, the middle one happens to be number 8. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for the girls, the median is right there. Let's count the boys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Same thing. What a lucky class. Equal numbers. So the median again is going to be 8. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's the median. So what's the difference between the medians for the 2 data sets? Well, the difference between 4 and 6 is 2 tickets. All right. Let's look at the back side. So this one up here says use the box plots below for questions 6 and 7. So I got 2 box plots. I've got club members by ages. I've got chess and checker clubs. So let's look at the questions so we'll know what we're looking for. Number 6 is, what is the interquartile range for the checkers club? So I'm going to have to find the interquartile range for the checkers club, and which data set shows the greatest spread. So I'm dealing with spread and interquartile range. Interquartile range is the range within the box. So it's really obvious which one's bigger. Checkers is a bigger one, but let's find out what the checkers is. All I got to do is take the top part, which is 15, minus the bottom part, which is 10. That gives me an interquartile range of 5. So which data set shows the greatest spread? Spread is the total. So for the checkers, I've got 6 to 17. That's a spread of 17 minus 6 is a spread of 11. Chess has a spread from 8 to 18. That's a spread of 10. I probably shouldn't have drawn in the boxes. Checkers definitely has the bigger spread. Only by 1. It's not that huge. All right. Moving on to questions 8 and 9. So use the bar graph for questions 8 and 9. The bar graph shows the number of students at 5 high schools. So question 8 says, what is the total number of students who attend the 5 high schools? And question 9 says, what percent of all students attended the 2 schools with fewest students? Okay, so pretty much the same thing I've been looking for at the previous bar chart. I got to add everything together, and then I got to find a part over a whole. So first of all, let's figure out how many students. There's 450 at Uptown. There's 500 at Lyle. There's 350 at Bentley. There's 450 at Park. And there's 400 at Vista. So now I can add them together. 450 plus 500 is 950. I like adding in pairs. And I'm going to add Vista and Bentley because they're the 2 schools with fewest. So 350 and 450 is 750. I'm going to remember that number because that's my... And then last I add another 450. Then I add them all together. 10, 17, 2,150 students. So 2,150 students. Now, this one, number 9, is part over the whole. The part is, remember we said we found the two schools with the fewest students, and they totaled 750 divided by 2,150. So I'm going to have to do math here. There's no easy way out of this one. So 750 divided by 2,150. I'm going to have to add some zeros here. I want to get at least to the nearest percent. That's just the way I am. So I got 750. 2,150 doesn't go into it. So now, but 2,150 I can see will go into this. I'm going to multiply it by 3 because it kind of looks appropriate. If I multiply 3 by 2, that'll give me 6,000. So 0, 15, carry 4. So 6450. I'm going to go 6450. I think it's 3. Got to do some borrowing here. So that's 0. When that's brought down, I borrowed to get that. That's 10. That's 5 now. That's a 0. And this is a 1. So I got to go this. That's a big number there. But again, I can kind of look at, because this starts with 2, look at this. So I'm thinking 5. 2,150 times 5 is going to get me somewhere close to that. I'm going to use this area over here. 2,150 times 5. Oh, crud. I am sorry. I'm just looking up on the screen and noticing I'm not even on the thing. So I'm sorry. So I'll go back and I'm doing 750 divided by 2,150. I started out, put 3 decimals out because it's really how far I need to go. So I did 2,150 times 3. I looked at that 2 and said, hey, that's 2 times 3 is 6. It's going to be 6 something. And I got that. So now I'm looking at the remainder down here of 10500. And I'm thinking that 10 times 2 is 5. Or 10. And 2 times 5 is 10. So I'm going to go with 5s here. So I got my 0. I got 25. Carry that. 7, and then I get 750. Sadly, that's too big. That really saddens me greatly. So I know it's going to be 4. So 2,150 times 4. Make sure I'm still on the screen up there. And that's 0. That's 2. So 6. That's 8,600. So I bring down my zeros. Got to do some borrowing. 15 minus 6 is 9. 9 minus 8 is 1. So now I end up with this big 1900 number. And I learned that it kind of jumped faster than I wanted it to. But I got 19. I'm thinking 18. It could be bigger, but I'm going to go with 7. I'm going to go with 2150 times 7. I'm running out of room down here. 2150 times 7. 0, that's 5. Carry the 3. It's 0. Carry the 1. It's 14, 15. So I get 15050. And really, that's all I needed to know. I could have. It could be bigger. But as long as I know that goes into it, I'm looking at that third decimal, and I'm only using it to make this bigger. This could have probably gone all the way to 18 without problem. I could have probably gone all the way to 8, but it would have it would have driven that up, so I end up with 35%. All right, let's go up to this lovely circle graph, aka not a pie chart. Use the circle graph for 1011. The circle graph shows 300 prizes in a contest. I always like to highlight the number of prizes there, or whatever the number is total. So let's look at our questions and see what we're actually answering. It says, how many $5 prizes are there? And what's the probability of winning more than $25? Write your action as a fraction. Okay, so how many $5 prizes? Well, that's this. It's the second set, so we can start here. So 20% of the prizes were $5. They were 20%, right? Okay, well then all I got to do is multiply 300 by 20%, or 0.20, and I'm just going to, I can drop the 0, so it's 0.2. 0, 0, that's 6. I bring my decimal, so 60 of the prizes were $5. So what's the probability of winning more than 25? It doesn't include 25, it's more than 25. Well, the only two that are more than 25 are these 50 and 100, and it's the last two spots. And there's 2 and 1% or 3%. Well, remember, as a fraction, 3% is really just 3 over 100. And it says right as a fraction, 3 over 100 happens to be a fraction that can't be reduced. So I'm going to take it with that. All right. More dot plotting. It says use the dot plot for questions 12 through 13. We got this dot plot of science. I'm not sure what it equates to, but it's a lovely dot plot that doesn't, the title really doesn't give us an idea what it does. So it says what is the mode and what is the mean? Okay, I'm looking for two of those measures to center, the mode and the mean. The mode is the number that appears most often. Well, that's pretty obvious. This 3 appears 5 times, so it's definitely the mode. What is the mean? Well, I'm going to have to add everything together and then divide by the total number of dots. So let's find out how many total number of the dots. That's easiest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There are 19 total dots. I'm going to put that over here as 19 because whatever I get, I'm going to divide by it. And now to add up. The easiest way to do is add each column and then add them together. So this is 1.5. 1.5 times 3. So 1.5 times 3. That's 15. Carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 4, so it's 4.5. 2 times 4 is 8. I don't have to do any math for that one. 2.5 times 2, 2.5 plus 2.5 is 5. 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 15. 3.5 is just itself. 4 times 3 is 12, and then we got 4.5. So now we can add things together. And I'm going to add some easy ones here right off the bat. 15 and that makes 20. 4.5 and 8 is 12.5. 3.5 and 12 is 15.5. And 4.5. Remember, you don't have to do the trick with adding them together. If you want to add them one at a time, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with it. Multiple ways to get an answer, as long as it always gets the right answer. So going down, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8, plus 4 is 12. 1, 3, 4, 5, so 52.5. 52.5, and I've got to divide it by 19. So 52.5 divided by 19. Well, I know my mean's going to be somewhere near my mode, so that's going to give me a hint at where to start with. I'm going to start at 3. 19 times 3. 3 times 9 is 27. Carry the 2. That's 57. Well, that was too high, right? So it's telling me the mean is going to slightly be this way, and that makes sense since I've got a big cluster of data there. So I'm going to go way down here and use this space over here. 19 times 2. 2 times 9 is 18. Carry the 1, 38. I'm going to bring 38. So I get 2 point. It doesn't tell me how to carry it out. I'm going to go out to the tenths, but logically you could start at a whole number if that's the way you felt like it. So 38. Let's subtract here. Got to borrow. 12 minus 8 is 4. I borrowed from this, so 4 is 1. 145. Well, let's see. 145. When I did this, it came out 57. I'm guessing times 6 or 7. So let's find out what it is. 19 times 6. Okay, 19 times 6. 6 times 9 is 45. Almost did the wrong thing. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 105. Okay, so that didn't necessarily get me what I wanted. I've definitely got a lot to go. So I'm just going to add 19 because that would make it 6 times 7. I'm kind of lazy. I just don't want to go there. 4, carry the 1, is 2. Again, 124 is pretty close. But let's see if I can do another 19 and see if I can get closer to 145. So 9 and 4 is 3. So that would be 4. So 143. And that is real close here. And you'll see that says going down, it's 143. So I did 6, 7, 8. So 2.8 is 143. When I subtract, it all worked out real good. That comes 2, 0, which would make that 1, which means it's not going to drive that up. I'm just going to go to 1 decimal place. So 2.8. I could also easily put 3, which would put me right about where I was. So 2.8, which is slightly over here, but I can go 3. All right, let's look at this very last one. Let me adjust my camera because it's stretchy down here. It says, use the box plot at the bottom of the page for questions 14 and 15. So I got this box plot here showing chapters 9 and chapter 10 of test scores, which I kind of obliterated, but that's okay. So it says, what are the medians for both chapters? What is the range of both chapters? Now, on the online, I split this to question 14, 15, and this to 16, 17. So we'll just go straight forward. So what's the medians? Well, the median's easy to find on a box plot. It's literally what the center is. So the median for chapter 9, so chapter 9, median is right here. It's between 75 and 80. Half of those, if you add them together, 75 plus 80 is, well, I'm not even going to do that, is 155, and then you divide it by 2, and you'll get 77.5. So 77.5. And chapter 10, chapter 10's median is way down here, and it's 65. It's a rough one. What's the ranges of both chapters? So chapter 9, we like ranges because it's not a lot of work. So chapter 9, the range started at 60 and went all the way up to 95. So 95 minus 60 is 30. And chapter 10, can't even figure out what I'm doing here. It started at 50, went all the way to 80, so the range is 30. 80 minus 50 is 30. Well, that concludes that. I hope you did okay. If not, study and figure this out. You've got some time.